I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Another really busy one, especially for a Friday. But let's start with late night. Jimmy Kimmel said, maybe Herschel Walker doesn't know what pro-life means. Maybe he was like, I was a pro football player and this is my life, pro-life. Kimmel again, the election in Georgia is now less than a month away. Walker doesn't intend to pull out. Pulling out isn't his thing. Jimmy Kimmel for the win. All right, a terrible, terrible headline starts us out today. This from Deadline. The headline, comedian Kim Congdon says she was sexually assaulted by a fan at a New York show on Saturday night. Kim Congdon tweeted, if you saw me kick a guy's ass after the show last night, I'm sorry. He sexually assaulted me after my set and bragged about it on his way out, ruining an otherwise perfect night for me. She was opening for Joey Diaz, who, by the way, in my career is the worst person I ever met. That's an aside. She was opening for Joey Diaz at Sony Hall in New York. And she told Deadline, I'd left my phone on a tripod near the sound booth and went to get it. That took her through the crowd. The guy must have been walking back from the bathroom or something. She didn't originally describe the incident in detail, and then a bunch of trolls on Twitter didn't believe her, so she made herself very clear and wrote, I can't believe I have to say this, but I would not tweet or make a fuss about someone grazing me by accident. I'm not out to get or accuse anyone. This man poked me in my vagina twice, essentially trying to finger me through leggings when I walked by with her back to him. She told Deadline, when it happened, I was already walking the other way. When I turned around, he literally pretended like he was blind. The incident occurred right when Joey Diaz was getting on stage and a lot of people were cheering and then the lights went down. She lost track of the man in the darkness, but venue officials tracked him down. After they found him, I went and ID'd him, and then they made him leave. She wrote on Twitter, he didn't care he was being kicked out because he said, at least I got to touch Kim's private area. Congdon noted at Deadline this happened on the same night they threw beer at that girl, meaning Ariel Elias. It's really bad. I've been doing comedy for 10 years, and I've dealt with stalkers and all kinds of things. Unfortunately, this happened, and my next thought was, this probably won't be the last time. Also from Deadline, Ariel Elias says she still hasn't processed the incident that happened at Uncle Vinny's Saturday night. She was on Gianmarco Sorce's podcast, The Downside. I have downloaded that. Gianmarco was one of the new faces at Montreal this year and was fantastic, so I'm excited to learn he has a podcast. I want to check out this episode, just haven't been able to. But she told Gianmarco, I still haven't cried, and I know I need to. I think I'm feeling irritated at some of the attention. She revealed that outlets like Rolling Stone and CNN had reached out. Jimmy Kimmel Live is trying to book her. Gianmarco Sorce was the headliner that night. And he said he was jittery. At one point, he saw a flash of light somewhere in the club, likely someone vaping, but he thought it might be a gunshot. Elias said she had similar thoughts. My opening joke that Saturday night was, so glad to be here in South Jersey where it's easier to get a gun than make a left turn. As someone who lives in New Jersey, true and funny. It's not out of the realm of possibility to think someone had a gun out there. A spokesperson for Jimmy Kimmel's show confirms they are in touch with Ariel, and they're trying to figure out a date when it would fit their schedules. TJ Miller says he and Ryan Reynolds have cleared the air. Time out. It would have been 3 straight episodes where I mentioned Ryan Reynolds, except Thursday's episode I had pre-taped early in the week because I knew I was busy Wednesday and just had to do that. Sometimes I have to do that. Otherwise, we would have had Ryan Reynolds tic-tac-toe. Anyway, TJ Miller says he and Ryan Reynolds have cleared the air after TJ publicly stated he'd never work again with Ryan Reynolds. This from The Hollywood Reporter. Reynolds heard the comments. And TJ says that Reynolds reached out to TJ about the interview, and the two have now straightened things out. TJ says it was a misunderstanding, so I emailed him back, and now it's fine. It was very cool of him to say, hey, I just heard on the show you were upset about this, and I kind of said, I'm not. And then we just sort of hashed it out really quickly. Miller added that he felt that he had said complimentary things about Reynolds, including that he finds him funny, but the media coverage didn't emphasize this. TJ said, I don't think I said anything that was negative. I feel bad it was picked up and it was misconstrued, but no, it was the next day he and I talked and it's fine. From Yahoo, Anthony Jeselnik. All right, he has caused outrage after making fun of a Melbourne woman who was struck by a roller coaster. Shyla Rodden in serious condition after she stepped onto the tracks at the Royal Melbourne Show on September 25th to retrieve her mobile phone. Graphic footage of the collision shows the 26-year-old being hit by a roller coaster before her body was dragged along the tracks and thrown in the air. Miss Rodden had only recently relearned to walk after a car crash in Melbourne in January of 21 in which she flipped her vehicle. Anthony Jeselnik was on the Jeselnik and Rosenthal Vanity Project. Anthony said, this story is absolutely hilarious to me. Can you be forgiven because you haven't been walking around that much, that you don't know how to walk? And so you think walking on a roller coaster tracks are fine? It's bad luck, but roller coasters only go in two directions. It's hard to get hit by them. A car, okay, anything could have happened. Maybe you're in the street. Maybe the car jumped a curb. A roller coaster, that's your fault every single time. Yahoo News Australia has reached out to Anthony Jeselnik for comment. Boy, that entire first half was horrible, wasn't it? Yes. We now know when Trevor Noah will wrap up his duties on The Daily Show. December 8th will be his final day. Then the show will go on hiatus until January 17th. Trevor Noah put out a statement, part of some of the spin here, in my opinion. Chris McCarthy, that's the boss over there at Comedy Central, has been an amazing leader and partner who's helped me realize my dream of working not just in front of the camera, but also behind the scenes producing content, which now airs across the Paramount family. Yes, Trevor Noah went out of his way to mention the Paramount brand. Totally not a setup statement there, which now airs across the Paramount family. I'm truly excited to see what the future holds. As I record this on a rainy Thursday, I'm hoping to catch up on my television tonight. One thing that I have not seen yet is Iliza Schlesinger's new special, but a few people have told me that it's really good. Yahoo reviewed it. Spoilers, in Hot Forever, Schlesinger starts off on a very strong point. The dancing on TikTok was never sexy, independent of the app of TikTok. She takes you through exactly why that's the case, while also sharing some dating advice and wisdom by calling out all the oddities that occur between men and women the first time they have sex. Then she talks about the concept of the ugly bra, the one with thick straps and multiple hooks, the one where function supersedes beauty. Schlesinger said, as a comic, I'm just like, enough is enough. Let me just say the thing we're all thinking. You can judge me for it later. I think women deserve to be heard, and we deserve not to feel bad about very normal things. That's at the root of it, especially as someone that was always labeled weird growing up, or as a stand-up comic, or just being a woman. You think you're alone. You think you're on an island. Society set it up that way. In Hot Forever, she talks about all the vile things that are said to women online, famous or not, and an anger towards women that exists when they don't give an adequate amount of attention to men. Schlesinger says in the special, gentlemen, if you're not having sex and the narrative of your life is that you're not having sex because women are bitches, women are whores, you're a nice guy and you deserve better, that's nature's way of saying you should not be having sex, for you failed to adapt and evolve, and there should be no more of your kind. This weekend in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, it's the Transformer Comedy Fest. I'm not sure why it's called Transformer. 3 days of comedians from across the nation will be at Flatburger Society and Dottie's Coffee Lounge. The festival's independent and homegrown. Tonight at Dottie's Coffee Lounge, Anthony DeVito. And let's wrap up the week on Gossip Corner. Kim Kardashian reveals she had fireplace sex with Pete Davidson in honor of her grandma. Great. Kim says, I know that's really creepy. Johnny Mac says, yes. During Thursday's episode of The Kardashians, Kim Kardashian is talking to her grandma. Kim says to Grandma, you know what's so crazy? Pete and I were staying at the Beverly Hills Hotel last weekend. We were sitting in front of the fireplace talking for hours, and I was like, my grandma told me that you really live life when you have sex in front of the fireplace. And so we had sex in front of the fireplace in honor of you. Grandma, who's 88, expressed concerns about the choice of location, asking, not in the lobby? And then Kim said, not in the lobby, but how creepy to think about your grandma before you have sex. And that is your comedy news for today. Normal episodes all weekend. There's plenty of stuff. So like a lot going on lately. And I didn't forget about the comedians to keep an eye on list. I just haven't been able to get to it. It's been so jam-packed and the weekend is very robust. So follow the show for free on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you get your shows. And I'll meet you back here on your phone tomorrow.